What up, y'all? It's your man, Ken Jackson. This is the Ken Jackson Experience. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything right here at crazybabytvworld.com. Peace. What up, y'all? Good morning. Here we are today, coming to you from McCalla, Alabama. The good old heart of Dixie. Not too far from the Talladega Raceway, whereas a lot of you may or may not know, there's been a lot of controversy regarding the Confederate flag in NASCAR. Just this past weekend, the only black driver, or the only top-tier black driver in NASCAR, Bubba Wallace, was soft threatened. Someone left a noose in his garage prior to the race, and there were a few minor protests that went on outside the raceway. Some Confederate flags flying over, people outside the raceway also flying Confederate flags. You know what it is. People are upset about this Confederate flag thing. And I addressed this a couple days ago in another video. Some of you may have seen it. And I thought I made it. I know I made my opinions clear about what I thought about the Confederate flag. Just like many people, I'm deeply offended that it's getting so much support. People trying to hold on to a dead legacy. Trying to claim that we're trying to erase history and all that. And it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. The bottom line is just blatant racism. And what's so sad about the whole situation is that President Trump still refuses to speak out about it, to speak out against it. This man is supposed to be the commander-in-chief of the United States of America, the commander-in-chief of these United States military. And as I said in my other video, if you're a current veteran or currently serving on active duty, you should be deeply offended by anybody, wanting to hold on to the legacy of the Confederacy. What part of rebellion don't y'all understand? The Confederacy does not represent Southern pride. It just doesn't. I don't care what you say or how you try to slice it. The Confederacy was a rebellion against these United States. Plain and simple. And as I said before, I don't have a problem with Confederate relics and monuments being placed in museums, because it is a part of American history. It's a very dark part of American history. And I honestly believe that it should be taught. It should be covered in our education system. People should be taught the truth about what happened in the early years of this country. America has a dark past. Donald Trump, with his "Make America Great Again" slogan, is really a slap in the face, because, being honest, America was never great. We haven't been great yet. We might be moving towards greatness, but The United States isn't old enough to be considered great. This country is just over 200 years old as a nation. There are countries that have been around for thousands of years. So the United States is just the youngster on the block. And we got a lot of problems. We do. As we can see now with current events, racism is just as strong and robust as it's ever been. And we got a long way to go before we can consider ourselves great as a nation. Don't get me wrong, we got a lot of great people in this country, but the country as a whole is not great. And I know some of you will disagree with me on that, but it's just true. And I'm a proud veteran. I served in the United States Navy. Gave them 7 years of my life on active duty. And I really enjoyed that time. Don't get me wrong. This is the only home I know. I was born and raised in America. And unfortunately for me, I can't trace my history. I have no idea where my family lineage is from beyond the borders of the United States. Why? Because the slave trade made it nearly impossible for us blacks in America to trace our history. Now, there are some that say, you can do DNA tests, and this and that, and, get an idea of what part of Africa your family might be from. But here's the truth. A lot of us here in America are of mixed lineage. A common practice among the slavers back in the day was to take a lot of our black women, a lot of the African women, and impregnate them so that they could create their own breed of, I don't know what you want to call it, but a lot of the slave masters laid down with a lot of African women and basically tried to, I guess they were trying to dilute our race. Didn't work. I'm of the belief that black blood is dominant. Black DNA is the dominant DNA in the world. That's my opinion. And no matter what you do, you're never going to wipe us out. You can't. Because of this simple fact. All people come from a black woman. That's right. Even white folks. All of y'all came from a black woman. That's a scientific fact. Now, a lot of you might argue that. A lot of you are going to, it's up for debate, I'm sure. But as far as I know, science has proven that all people started in Africa. Plain and simple, whether you like it or not. But anyway, getting back on topic, this Confederacy thing is really, really heating up right now. But you people got to understand, as far as I'm concerned, especially as a veteran, if you're still supporting the Confederacy, then you're a traitor. You're a traitor to this country. You're a traitor to our Constitution and everything that it stands for. And there's so many other issues that we're dealing with right now. police brutality being the number one issue right now. Something that we as black folks in America have dealt with all of our lives. All of our lives. I don't know a single black person in my circles that has not had some sort of scary experience with the police. Now, personally, I've never been beaten or brutalized or anything like that by the cops, but I have had guns pulled on me. I have been stopped illegally. I've been harassed. And it's very scary. I don't worry so much about myself as much as I do about my children and now my grandchildren. They're going to have to grow up, hopefully, in a world that's going to be a little bit better than what I grew up in. I'm a child of the Civil Rights Movement. I was born in the 60s. I vaguely remember the riots of the 70s. My dad, he's a veteran of the Vietnam War, and he told me a lot of stories about his upbringing and things that he experienced. And people, it wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago that Jim Crow laws were overturned. So when I hear people say, "Oh, well, I didn't have anything to do with that, that was before my time," that's bullshit. I'm only 54 years old. So any of you who know someone that's 54 or older, you had to have heard something about our recent history. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it was 100 years ago or 200 years ago. This is recent history. And the problems are still going on. Hopefully, we're at a time now where something really may change. I think the young people right now are going to really carry the torch and really bring about a change in this country. I remain optimistic. I'm hoping, that things will get better. I know things will get better. I do know, too, that things are going to get a lot worse before they get better. So I hope you all are prepared for that. We got some dark days ahead of us for sure. But if everybody stands firm in their beliefs and open up your mind to the reality of what is, and white folks, we can't make anything change without the help of white folks. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that we need them to rescue us as a community. However, the world that we live in isn't going to change until we can help change, we can affect change in the minds of white folks, because they have the power. They hold the power. And as long as they hold the power to the mechanisms that run this society, we're never going to be able to make any change happen. So we have to get a hold of some of the power. We have to work from the inside out. That's my opinion. There are some people on here that I follow that post some things every day. Some things are really good, but I've been disturbed by some of the things that I've heard from them recently. And I'm not going to mention their names, But I've heard some things from other black commentators on here telling black folks, don't vote because it does nothing for us. Listen, don't listen to that bullshit. Get out there and vote. The reason we have guys like Donald Trump in office now is because a lot of us stayed home on election day in the areas that we needed not to. Okay? Yes, the Electoral College, I think, is an outdated and archaic system. However, if we learn to play the game, and if our people in those so-called battleground states get up off their ass, get out there and vote en masse, we can win this thing in November. That's the only reason Donald Trump won in 2016 is because he got the votes in the places where it counted as far as electoral college points are concerned. And we got enough people in those districts to beat him. But like I said, you people in those districts got to get out there this time and vote. Don't stay home. Don't stay home. Get out there, vote. Get others who are legally able registered to vote, and let's make this thing happen in November. We have to get Donald Trump out of there. Mitch McConnell needs to go. Lindsey Graham needs to go. And any other Republican that has supported this administration and its policies, they all need to go. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the Democratic Party is all peaches and creams either, but goddamn it, we can't have another 4 years of Donald Trump. Plain and simple. And I'll take Joe Biden over Donald Trump on any given Sunday, any given day, period. Okay? So, for all you blacktivists out there talking about black folks don't get out and vote because it's not good for us, and knock off that bullshit. All right? Knock it off. We need to participate in this system. It's the only system we have, and unless we're going to have a civil war and try to tear it all down, then damn it, you need to get your ass out there and vote. Plain and simple. Secondly, Black Lives Matter. This is true. But guess what? As much as I hate the fact that cops are killing us in the streets, I also hate the fact that we're killing us in the streets too. Black lives have to matter to us as well. Not just when a cop guns down an innocent black man in the streets, but black lives have to matter when it's another black life taking black lives. We got all these so-called gangsters and these motherfuckers living a thug life, and these dope dealers, and these cats are destroying our community in the worst way. In the worst way. In fact, I'm calling out all you so-called gangsters out there. You're so tough. Why don't you, why don't you guide some of that toughness toward the police? Now, I'm not saying go out there and commit violence against the cops, but I am saying you need to knock off the bullshit that you do in our neighborhoods. You claim you love our neighborhoods so much, but you're out here selling dope to your own people. You're out here shooting up and killing your own people. Just this past Father's Day weekend, 104 shootings in Chicago alone. And that wasn't cops doing the shooting. That was niggas in the street. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. So let's be real, y'all. You motherfuckers can get on here and talk about our kin, you cooning and this, fuck that. bottom line is this. We can't expect anybody else to take us seriously if we don't stop killing ourselves. We got to stop co-signing the bullshit that goes on in the hood. That's real. And I challenge anybody that disagrees with me. If you're going to get out here and protest against police brutality, you also need to equally protest against black-on-black brutality. We don't need to make the job easier for the Klan and for those that hate us. So let's knock off that bullshit too. Nobody loves black folks more than me. I'm going to tell you that right now. I've been black all my life. I can't be anything else. And it pains me every time I hear about one of us getting gunned down by the police. It breaks my heart. But it pains me even more when I hear about one of us killing us. You think about that. You expect them to treat us better, but we don't treat ourselves any better. See, we have to address the whole problem. And it's not going to get fixed overnight. It took over 400 years for us to get to this point. So it's definitely going to take some time for us to fix the problem. But we have to fix the whole problem. We can't just focus on one thing. We have to focus on the entire illness. And the black community is sick right now. We're sick and tired of being sick and tired. But we're sick amongst ourselves as well. We have to get over the Willie Lynch doctrine. And if you don't know what that is, I suggest you Google the Willie Lynch letter. Read it. That should be required reading for every black person in America. Read that letter so that you can truly understand what's wrong with us at the core. Because it's been 400 years of conditioning that's gotten us to where we are now. A lot of us still hold on to that slave mentality. We're like crabs in a bucket holding each other back. We got to stop that. We need to lift each other up. We need to be our brother's keeper. We need to work on solutions to save ourselves from self-destruction, as well as protect ourselves from the outside influences that are trying to kill us. So that's all I got to say today. Until tomorrow, I'm your man, Ken Jackson. This has been the Ken Jackson Experience Morning Edition. All right? I love y'all. Everybody be safe out there. Coronavirus ain't gone. Don't believe the hype. It's real, y'all. Wear your mask when you're in public.